Where did Novak Properties come from? We're going to tell you about where it started.
We are.
Stay tuned. The building of a real estate company.
Yeah.
We're going to give some tips and tricks and tell you about the highs and the lows and where we
are.
came from.
And how it all started. So a lot of people honestly say they think Mark and I are brother and sister. Mark got asked that the other day, said, and your sister, she works in sales? And Mark was like, it's not my sister, it's my wife.
I don't understand why it makes me feel like that.
Well,
like it's just the feeling it makes it. It's eek. It's an eek. It's like, oh.
But someone once said your dad to me, Mark.
So we're going to clear all this up today. We're going
to clear it up. Let's
when
clear
we started, how we started, why we started, what we've been up to, the highs, the lows, the milestones. I've been told not to talk for too long. So when we do this show together, Lisa and I, she talks the whole time, and she says that I talk for too long when I tell stories.
No, I said Mark needs to learn how to fly the plane sometime. Land the plane, I should say. Land the plane. Fly the plane, no problems. So, guys, Mark and I did start Novak Properties. A lot of people think that it was a family business that maybe we inherited along the way. That is definitely not the case. Okay, Mark, go. Mark's going to tell the story.
How did you start?
Over to you.
Well, how did we? Where's we?
Over to you. Over to you.
So when we started, I was in sales in real estate, and a myth also is my father was a real estate agent, but we never worked together. We never were in real estate at the same time. Dad was an old dad. He had me when he was just short of 50, so there was not a lot of years left when he retired, and it was just me at 17 in sales. Couple of different real estate agencies I worked with. Stacey First National was my first job in Monavale.
Yeah.
Just this land the plane, Mark? Is that what you're thinking? And then after that, I went to Nick Fakop Real Estate, the Internationals in DY, went as a property management assistant, started as a receptionist, then went to be a property management assistant, but then they ended up getting into sales jobs. Then I went to Harbord Real Estate to Professionals. That's when it really started, my sales career. Really started, and got in the group. At the time, there was 700 salespeople, including principals. And at the ripe young age of 20, I was number one in the country in dollar value and in transactions in the group.
True story.
Then Lisa and I met this girl called Lisa. And she said to me, this young lady said to me, you should start your own real estate agency. And I was like, what would I do that for? Like, what would I have to worry about tax and stuff? And sales was great, no ambition. Then something happened, something bad. And then we're like,
hang on. Wait. What do you mean something bad? You need to define that, Mark.
I was trying to do a short story. So then the principal I was with terminated me out of nowhere on a property transaction that him and I were doing together. We were buying and selling and there was buying and selling of assets. We had a disagreement. So he said, there's the door. And really didn't know what to do at that time because I was doing a lot of volume in sales, having a lot of fun, buying property. I'd even bought part of that business where I was working, and I was only sort of 22, not 19, 20, 22, 20, getting on to 23, and was forced to go out into the wilderness.
This is true. And I remember saying to Mark, just open your own agency. I said, have you ever managed people before? Mark goes, no. I said, have you ever
property management?
Done property management, looked after rentals? No.
A license?
No. So it was like, okay, this is a great idea. So at 23, Mark was 23. we decided it'd be a really good idea to open up our own agency, really with absolutely no experience. And at the time, I was actually, oh, money, that's right. And at the time, I was actually working in my family business. We were in private education. But long story short, Mark actually owned a portion of the rent roll at the agency where he was working. And so we went and sought premises. It was the old Shepherd Pie shop. Is it Shepherd's Pie? Shepherd Pie shop in...
What was the pie shop called anyway?
I'm sure it was called Shepherd's in DY. So it was an old pie shop. And but it was in this great location in DY. There wasn't too many real estate offices there at the time. And we thought this is a great location, which it really was. It was a big prominent corner location, very elevated, right in the heart of DY. And they had literally gone in and just ripped out this pie shop, and there was a hole in the ceiling, and the whole place smelt. We thought, oh, this would be a great place, but we had no money at the time to actually do any sort of renovations whatsoever.
So Lisa and I had only met about 18 months before that, 2 years before that. So we met in 2000. I met my sister in 2000.
Definitely not sister.
And then you worked for about 7 years in your family business?
No, yes, correct. Yep.
So I was running Novak, property management without any experience, a lot of moral support from Lisa, and then we had babies, and then Lisa said from day one, I've always wanted to be a real estate agent. From the first day I met her, I've always wanted to be a real estate agent. I'd be a great real estate agent.
True story. Well, I actually studied real estate when I left school. I've always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Always.
Saturdays was the thing that was not possible with the kids.
Yep.
So then you started doing a day a week in marketing.
I did, yes. So I was doing marketing in the background.
Your parents sold the family business.
Correct.
Well, that was sort of the start.
Yeah, and then I started to merge more and more into the business as the kids got a bit older, and the business started to really grow. But, it's funny. I think we'll just rewind for a moment, Mark, because moving into our office in DY, it sort of remained as a pie shop with some chairs and tables in it for quite some time, because
tables all over the floor.
23 years ago, we were young guys.
Yeah.
Who starts a business when they're 23 years of age?
Yeah, and it didn't have signage for a long time.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of stuff for a long time. Actually, when we started the office, we had 3 mobile phones as the office phones, and one phone diverted. When that phone was ringing, it diverted to the second mobile, and when that phone was ringing, it diverted to the third mobile. So it was pretty basic for a lot of years, and I think that's cool, because you see the business today, and for people who aren't aware, it's a 50-seat office where we are. It's a massive. It's a bit like an Apple store, and I'm really proud of the start of that business, because we were basic for not a short time.
Well, and I tell you what, if you want to see blood, sweat, and tears around an office, that was that office. And we certainly don't work any less in the business. When you fast forward 23 years, we're not working any less.
No,
that's for sure. In fact, we're probably working harder than we ever have before.
Yeah.
But to anyone that sort of looks at a brand like ours or any other brand that they may admire, nothing good ever comes easy. And the reality is that there's probably a lot of people out there that would tell very, very similar stories about literally the blood, sweat, and tears that went into building the business, and so many things that we had learned along the way. We really did. And in many respects, Mark, we just grew up with the business.
Yep. I remember my first sale, my first listing.
Yeah.
So his name was what's Greg's surname? Jeff Ryan. He had this really cool Toyota Celica, and he's pulling out of the driveway next door to the office. So we had not had a listing, nothing. And I saw Greg in the driveway. I'm like, oh, sorry, Jeff. I'm like, Jeff, how are you? He's like, good. What are you doing? I said, oh, just open up an office around the corner. He said, I want to sell my place. I said, yeah. He goes, up here. First listing, first sale, Jeff Ryan.
Isn't it unbelievable? Yep. It really is. And when we were opening up Novak, guys, and this is now 23 years ago, like, I actually cannot believe it. 23 years ago, when we opened up the office, we were looking around and going, okay, should we like join McGrath, or should we go with Ray White, or there was quite a variety. And honestly, Mark and I were always like naughty school kids. We're like, we're not going to be able to conform to the colours and the brand and everything that those people are going to want us to do.
Your brother's like, no chance you're going to join a franchise. There's no chance.
And
how do we come up with the name Novak?
Well, to become an independent,
the Novak agency.
It was called the Novak agency, but to become an independent on your own, 23 years ago, and to be doing things so differently as we always were, even right from the beginning, was just unheard of. And when we started to renovate the office, and we'd always realised that we just didn't want to look or feel like a real estate agency. And I remember, Mark, people would walk in, they'd be like, excuse me, what is this shop?
Well, I was always like,
what is it? And we'd be like, oh, we're a real estate shop. But no, you're not. You don't have any photos on the windows.
They had placards. Everyone had placards in the window, stuff in the window. And for some reason, I just had a bee in my bonnet. There's nothing on the window.
Nothing in the window.
And I used to go to Rain and Horn Double Bay, and they had this screen, this projector.
That's right. Oh my goodness, I remember.
And I was like, and every time I went past this office, it was a new office, and every time I went past, I went like this. And so I was like, that's what I want. That is cool. So we never put anything in the window, and boy, did we cop it.
Yeah, we really
copped it. People are like, why don't you have everything in the window? You should have something in the window. We're like, nah, my parents. No.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And then it really started to evolve. And then there was the Slurpee machine.
Yes.
So, we decided, again, we always wanted to, and listen, guys, even our office today, I mean, anyone that's ever seen our office, which is not in the same place now, it's across the road. We bought an office about 8 years ago, and we purpose built it, and it is absolutely spectacular. It's got a 6-metre antipasto bar as a reception area. That might give you a little bit of an idea as to how it looks. But we're always doing crazy things. We had the Slurpee machine, and all the school kids would come off the school bus, and they'd come in, and what would they do? They'd line up outside, and they'd come.
We had to make them line up because they were so noisy inside. So I ended up saying to the kids, you could have a free Slurpee, but you're not allowed to all be inside the office and make noise. One person at a time, line up outside. So they used to line up out as a kid at school finish.
Yeah, then we had the shark tank. So Mark had gone to a client's house, and how big was the fish tank, Mark?
5 ton.
Oh, it was a 5-ton fish tank. I think it took like 10 people to come and install it.
No exaggeration. But I worked out how much it cost to put a motor into the tank and the lights into the tank, and
then we put an octopus,
2-meter octopus,
which ate better than we did. It was getting prawns every day.
And then we had the big shark in there with the octopus. They liked each other.
Yeah.
But people loved it.
It
was cool.
But we always decided that we wanted to do things differently. So that's kind of the fast forward version as to where Novak started. But yes, it was started by Mark. It is our agency. Where certainly Mark's dad was in real estate many years ago. But we were never handed down a business. Everything we did ourselves. And we've never had partners either.
Oh, I do have to talk about the partners we have had.
Yes.
So, and I do. You have to. I think we've got to pay homage to these people.
We do.
Clive Crookshanks, Ray Padmore, these guys. Because what happened is in the old office we bought the part of the rent roll side of the business, and there were silent partners in the business, and they agreed to support me into the new venture. They actually cut a check for like 120 grand back then, which was equivalent to probably 300 grand today, 400 grand today. And the business paid them back. And those guys, and then it was probably about 3 or 4 years later, I paid them out. So there was no more partners in the business. But, if it wasn't for those guys, with those guys' support, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So it's those people. Not. There was a Jason Martin in there. There was a couple of other people. Took hostage of a couple of other partners as well. So it was cool. But
as the years went on, we actually we paid out the silent shareholders.
Yes.
But it's Mark and I, and there's a lot to be said about just 2 people that run the business and not having any partners.
How do we work together? Everyone goes, how do
a lot of people ask that.
Wife? That is impossible.
How is it, Mark?
Well, during the business hours, we sort of don't come across each other, but we do a lot out of business hours as well.
There's a lot of talking about work. There is a lot of talking about work.
I think we like our business. We like what we do, so we like sharing the stories.
We definitely do.
Yeah.
And would we change it? Definitely not. We never ever argue about. In fact, we don't argue. We hardly argue at all. But we certainly don't ever argue about business. I love that Mark runs the business. I work in the business, but I'm not involved in the day-to-day runnings. And I don't really want to be. I think this is where you can get a lot of. It's probably where you come to loggerheads, I think, where you've got two people that are running the business. Mark runs the business. Mark looks after, the day-to-day dealings of the business. And that's great. And it works really well that way, doesn't it?
Most memorable moment?
Most memorable, there's been so many. I would have to say it was when we got our... Oh, there's actually two. So one was when we moved into the office, that very, very first night. We were so young.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We didn't know what we were calling the agency, and we had no letterheads, no nothing. It was like such a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
My brother went down to Officeworks and bought a printer.
4.
Yeah. And we were printing off
printers, printing off letterhead all night long.
That moment.
Yeah.
The other moment is when we actually purpose-built our own office, which is diagonally across the road. It sits on a massive corner frontage. It's a spectacular office.
Beautiful.
And we had put so much time, money, and effort into building this office. And I remember you were sitting in the gutter smoking a cigar, and the guys were inside peeling all the paper off the windows for the unveiling of the office that we'd put so much time and effort into that moment. I love that.
Now,
yours? What's yours?
Most memorable moment?
Yeah.
I think it sounds awful. I can't put it down to a event or a moment. I'd say the new office.
Building the office.
I'd say that walking through that new office when opening the business for operation it was magic. It was so fun. It was like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we were all that. It was just like, it was a milestone for the hard work.
Okay, I have a question. If you knew everything that was going to be involved up until this date, would you still have done it? Yeah.
Now, other things that go into our business, people.
Okay, I definitely, this is without a doubt, this is a very important topic.
This is an emotional one.
Yep.
These guys, it's been, I want to use the word intimate, but it sounds weird, but you're with someone for like 40, 50, 60 hours a week, sometimes for 10 or 12 years. Like some of the people that we've worked with in our business, and they brought us to, through thick and thin, with us still, some not with us. Pretty amazing.
Incredible.
People, the crew, your Stevan Bublos, your Branka Stankovic,
Milosh,
people,
Cleo,
Tina, the A team, that are just spectacular.
These guys have been with us forever,
long term, and people that have not been with us. Like we get that we were part of their journey and they were part of our journey. Like Antonios Canis and Tulo and Amanda Dalgetti and Angelo, and there was just
Jordan, so many. And then there were people like Burge, Michael
Burge.
Burge was with us for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Left for 3 years. I call it a sabbatical. Left for 3 years and came back.
Yeah.
You cannot, as a business owner, you cannot get a bigger compliment than someone who left, and then they miss us, they miss Novak, they miss us and the team and all the craziness that goes on behind the scenes, and they want to come back.
They work so hard.
They work so hard.
They work so hard.
When I was on the phone 2 minutes ago to my team, they
work so hard.
Yeah.
And
the best.
Our community, like far out. One of the things when Lisa...
God, Mark, haven't we got clients that have been with us right from the beginning?
Yep. But before we get to that, one of the things I remember when you started within marketing, you came up with the front window in the office. So our old office, we used to put
We used to be so cheeky.
we used to put in the front of our office a big billboard.
Yeah.
You know, we printed it out on the photocopy and stuck all the pieces of paper together. And we came up with this one where LJ Hooker DY moved from DY Beach to Pittwater Road, the main road in our suburb. And we put a big Vegas sign in our, like Las Vegas strip, you know, like all the, like we printed it out, put it in our window. And we said, we would like to welcome, Novak Properties would like to welcome hookers to the strip. People lost their minds.
Then we got a phone call, I think, from head office at Hookers saying, remove the signage, please. We're like, we're just having a bit of fun. But, you know, we were young and that, you know, that was part, young and cheeky, and that was really part of the craziness. And you can still feel that undercurrent still comes through in all of our marketing. Now we're older.
We've got social media now.
But yeah, that's right. And we still like to have a lot of fun. Yeah. Absolutely.
Back to our community, Lise. Like so good, so amazing. And the Northern Beaches is weird. Even Meriton says it to me, like, you know, when they went to Warriewood and DY, it's an insular peninsula, a little bit like Cronulla, a little bit like Avalon with the Azcats. Our community is, you know, and I went to Cromer High School, and I went to Colorado Plateau Public School, embedded into the community, our Serbian community, because I'm Serbian background, the support that they have given us and we have given them in return has been unbelievable. You know, for that we've given them honesty and hard work. But, you know, our community, like those customers that you mentioned that have been there since day one, like over 20 years, we're dealing with their kids now. And we've sold over and over and rented and over and as landlords, as tenants and things like that. You know, it is an amazing community, the Northern Beaches community of Sydney. And I think we can honestly say we've been a big part of DY. Like, how much has DY changed? How much has DY changed?
So much.
Since we were like far out.
Yeah.
It's been wicked.
It's been incredible. And it's funny, Mark and I often say, like, you know, how long are we going to do this for? Like, at what stage do you start to look at winding down? I mean, I feel like I'm just getting started, but you know, at what stage do you start to wind down? It's like, I don't know. I just can't imagine a day when we're not doing Novak Properties. Like, I just can't even imagine that. I just can't. So, you know, we're proud. We're really proud of everything that we've achieved. There is, as I said, there's an enormous amount of blood, sweat and tears that has gone into it. You know, we are very, very ingrained in the business. We're there every day. We turn up with the staff. We work hard with them. These guys are our extended family. They really, really are. And, you know, as I said, we're just, you know, we are super proud.
We've lost our dads.
Yeah, we did along the way.
Did.
They were a huge part.
They were huge supporters.
Massive.
Dad was like, you definitely shouldn't do that. So that made me support the business further. And your dad was like, go, go, go.
My dad was like the massive advisor. He was like the head of the committee almost.
Your mum was always like, go, go, go.
Yeah.
My mum was always like, go, go, go. So our brothers and sisters and our family have been a huge part. You know,
massive.
They've worked. My sisters worked, and my nephews worked in the business. You know, it's been a for our, you know, I think that support from your family is totally critical in what you do. But
I wonder if our kids will come work in the business. Jade, our youngest daughter, did for a little bit before she went on to do nursing. But the who knows.
Who knows?
Who knows? Whatever makes them happy.
Their decision.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed the story. Thank you so much to our community, our family. That's a bit of a couple of cheeky stories from when we started. And it's been a wild ride. And we're from where we've started, to give you an idea where we now are, we're employing 50 people in the business full time. We're managing over 2,000 assets, over $4 billion in assets we're managing for clients. We've built a commercial business as well as a residential business in sales and rentals. And we've built an amazing family. When a client comes to us, they, you know, through that family that we've built within the crew, they know they're getting really, really well looked after and loved. And also, we've built a nice, how do I say? I want to say like a tosser, but like I've always been a firm believer of property, and everyone that's worked with us, that's really been part of our ethos. So everyone who's come into our business has not only been paid, but they've made some nice money out of properties. A lot of people in our business.
Oh,
So
definitely. Yeah.
and customers and
Yeah.
landlords and things like that. So it's wealth creation that we've done for our community and our crew.
That's it, guys.
That's the word.
That's in 25 minutes. That is the story of the evolution of Novak Properties. That's exactly how it is. So yes, we're proud. I always get up every day and just say we're just doing the best that we can do. That's it. And we will continue to evolve without a doubt. The social media thing took everything really to the next level over the last 5 years. It definitely did. And we'll keep turning up for as long as you guys will have us.
What's next for Novak Properties?
Oh God, I don't know. You know what? The sky's the limit. The reality is, look, what a lot of people don't know about Mark is he's like Walt Disney. He's just like this crazy dreamer, and he comes up with these ideas, and everyone goes, no, Mark, no, you can't do that. And then next minute, what do you know? It's being done. So, stay tuned, because there is always the evolution of Novak, that's for sure. I don't know what the next few years looks like, but no doubt it will continue to be the crazy roller coaster ride that it has been for the last 23 years, and I'm all up for that.
I'll tell you what I think. We've built a platform for amazing people. And I think you're going to see some amazing people join Novak, and very quickly you'll see even more signboards up. So I'm really excited for, I think, to buy or to sell or to rent. It's a pretty incredible platform for landlords and buyers and sellers and staff. So I think growing the team's fun, and then growing wealth within that. Through the team, them buying their family homes and landlords doing better, and we do a lot of projects where clients make really good money from. So it's fun. It's fun seeing that.
There you go, guys.
Love ya.
That's it from us.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you so much for your support, everyone.
Thank you,
Love
guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.